Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a semi-organized woodworker running a small business out of my little one-car garage here. One thing I've really been struggling with over the last little while, though, is organization, specifically with this pegboard. I've kind of modified things a bit here. I built this pretty ineffective dust hood for my miter saw. I got this Husky slat wall from Home Depot that I bought when I first kind of renovated my garage shop. I just don't love it. I don't love the pegs. It's like pegboard on steroids. You're left with kind of standardized pegs, standardized holders that don't really work for what you need. They fall out like pegboard. So today I'm going to go down the path of building some custom French cleats, some custom tool holders. I've resisted using French cleats for quite a while. I know a lot of people are huge fans of them. A lot of people don't love them. I've looked at a bunch of different solutions, from the metal pegboard to just normal pegboard to screwing things on the wall to printing adapters, printing holders. And the solution I've come up with today is to do a bit of a combination of everything. We're going to use French cleats, some 3D printed holders, some CNC holders, some just kind of hand cut holders. So watch along as I level up the organization game at my little shop.
Like every good project, things need to get worse before they get better. Part of the problem I'm trying to solve here with too many things and not enough places to put them is that I have too many things and not enough places to put them. So when I take what I do have for, a semi-organized state and I rip it all apart, I need to put it somewhere. That really causes the shop to be completely inoperable for the time that I'm working on this. So really needed this to be kind of a half a day project at the most. I'm really finding that having things not where I need them, not where I can grab them, not where I know they are, really slows me down. So that's why I decided today was a day I'm going to bite the bullet and just get this done, get it over with, get everything organized. So you can see here, this is a huge mess on the CNC. So I decided I may as well sand off this bamboo butcher block table I have here. I've used it to mix epoxies and stains, and it's gotten pretty messy. So this seemed like the perfect time to clean it up. I need to start this section with a couple disclaimers. One, I know I shouldn't be wearing gloves. Two, I know this is a ridiculous way to cut a sheet of plywood in a tiny shop. Sometimes I feel like my space is bigger than it is, and I feel like I can cut a full sheet in half. What you can see just off camera is a whole bunch of stuff, my planer, my laser engraver, that won't let the sheet pass all the way through. So here I am, knowing what was going to happen, and looking a little bit dumbfounded. I decided that this would work. It turns out that it did, and that's all fine and good, but for those of you who are going to race to the comments and let me know how bad of an idea this was, I know it, and watching it play back, I probably wouldn't do it again. Sometimes I just don't like digging out the track saw, and, well, it's just excuses at this point. But do as I say, not as I do, and all that jazz. I managed to get this cut done, and it worked out. The rest of these cuts on the table saw are quite a bit safer and work quite a bit better. Now you can definitely screw the cleats directly to the drywall or whatever your backing surface is on your wall, but I decided I wanted to cover these with 1/2-inch plywood for a couple of reasons. One, I like the look and it cleans things up. Two, it gives a better, stronger surface to screw the cleats onto, and you don't have to worry quite so much about hitting a stud. As you'll see coming up here, I decided to glue all of the cleats onto the plywood wall, so I thought this was a pretty good way to go. I'm a terrible drywaller, and probably one of the biggest problems I have is trying to line up these stupid outlet boxes when I'm cutting the pieces, especially on the ceiling. You can see here and in a bunch of my shots throughout my videos that there's gaps of varying size around the boxes, but I have to say I'm pretty proud with how this turned out for these. I just measured, was able to transfer those onto the plywood, and I cut them out here with my oscillating saw, and there you go. It's nearly a perfect fit. Everything is covered perfectly by the plastic receptacle cover. Can't ask for more than that. I'm using 3/4-inch birch plywood that I have left over from a number of different projects to make the cleats for my French cleat wall. You can see here I'm ripping them down to 5-inch strips that we're going to turn into the cleats. With those all ripped straight with no miters on them, I set the angle of the blade on my table saw to 45 degrees. I usually rely on this magnetic angle finder unless things are really critical, and then I have another angle finder that I use just to confirm, but for the purposes of the French cleats, this is good enough. So here's where the magic happens. You want to set your fence to 1/2 of the width of your material minus half the material thickness. So in our case, that's 2 1/8 of an inch. This way you end up with 2 halves that are exactly the same size and can both be used for the French cleats. Just to triple check, I run the first one through just a couple of inches to make sure that it lines up, and then I proceed with cutting all of my cleats. There's a couple tricks I use to install these. First, as I mentioned earlier, I use a bead of wood glue, in this case Type Bond 3, to glue the cleats to the plywood on the wall. This is where most of the strength is going to come from, but you have to be careful not to get any glue into the cleat area, otherwise your tool holders won't sit flat. Next up, I just use an offcut as a spacer. You want to keep the spacing consistent, and this allows you to make sure that you can install and remove the tool holders in the future. Next up, I tack one side in with a brad nailer, use a level to level everything up. Then I go back and screw in some 2-inch trim head screws, generally trying to hit the studs where I can. Then you just work your way around, lining everything up, and get all the cleats installed. And now the fun part. Let's hang some tools. I'm just going to take a couple of these 3D printed brackets and adapters and tool holders that I had screwed onto the wall before and use those. It's pretty simple. I just take some scraps from the cleats that we had put on the wall and I screw the tool holders directly to them. Then you just clip them in, hang the tools, and you're off to the races. If you look on sites like Thingiverse and Bamboo Studio and Printables, there is an endless number of 3D print files, CNC files available. I'm going to spend some time, pick through, see what seems to work the best, and just experiment a little bit. The thing that really drew me to the French cleats, and the thing I'm the most excited about, is the ability to easily move stuff around. I hate it when you screw something in, kind of get everything set up permanently, and then you have to move it, and it just doesn't work, and you end up with holes everywhere. I think for someone like me whose tool arsenal is changing pretty consistently, French cleats are a perfect solution. You can add things, subtract things, move things around. It's easy, it doesn't take much time. It's pretty wonderful.
As you can see here, my shop's an absolute disaster. It looks like a bomb went off, but I got the French cleats up kind of over half the side here. I didn't end up taking down the slat wall yet. I figured that's just too much chaos. So I'm going to focus over the next week or so and build a whole bunch of hangers. I just had some 3D printed models here that I tested out just by screwing just some cleat scraps. And I'm gonna put some thought into how I want this all to lay out and just kind of work on that and get all of this stuff moved off the CNC and off of my assembly table. I have some projects I gotta get working on here right away. So I just wanted to take a few hours and make a step towards being more organized and make this place look a little bit better. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed. This is gonna be a huge step forward for me. It just adds a ton of options for storage and just makes use of some spots where I didn't have the most efficient use of space before. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching along. Hit subscribe if you want to see what I come up with for some custom hangers and custom cleats for this French cleat system. I got a bunch of things I want to cut on the CNC, make by hand, use a 3D printer for. So yeah, anyways, have a great day. Thank you.